Hello, friends. You're on the Creepy World Stories channel where we dive into the world of mystery, horror, and unforgettable stories. Today, I have something special for you. House number 86. This story will leave you spellbound. Dark secrets, supernatural forces, and unexpected twists await you at every turn. If you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new thrilling tales. And if you like this one, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Let them dive into this world of horror too. Get ready to experience the true chill of fear. Let's begin right now. House number 86. Prologue. Miles returned. House number 86. The smell of old wood, mildew, and dampness. The fog enshrouded town, like the house itself, seemed forgotten and overshadowed by time. He didn't want to return, but he had no choice. Aunt Agatha had left him everything: the house, the land, the small town. In her letters, she always mentioned that this house was too old and filled with memories. But Miles didn't know what else her words concealed. Something dark. He opened the door. Silence. Strange and suffocating. The same house. The same number 86. And the same voice. He felt the unsettling sensation that someone had been waiting for him. Chapter 1. The Shadow in the Mirror. Miles opened the door and stepped inside. The cold air filled his lungs, but it felt unnaturally heavy. He inhaled the scent of old books, wood, and dampness. It was familiar to him, but now that scent seemed foreign, as if the house itself was exhaling it into his face. Photographs on the walls, old black and white pictures. But then he noticed that the faces in these pictures were gone. Some had been wiped so thoroughly it looked like they were cut out. Only empty frames remained. Miles walked down the long hallway where a deathly silence hung in the air. He picked up an antique mirror sitting on a dresser and noticed it was covered in a thick layer of dust. He tried to wipe it off, but as soon as his hand touched the surface, the mirror fogged up. This was strange because the house was cold and no heater worked anywhere. He stepped closer and looked into the mirror. In the reflection, it was him. But his face, his eyes, his smile, none of it was his. The reflection smiled, but he did not. Chapter 2. Midnight. Time passed slowly. Miles felt tired, a slight headache creeping up on him. He decided to go to bed. But when the clock struck midnight, he woke up with the unsettling feeling that someone was standing next to him. Shadows moved in the room. He stood up and looked around, but there was no one. Only the heavy, icy air seeping through the cracks in the windows. Then a whisper. Soft and eerie. Miles, you've come. He turned around. Nothing. His heart raced in his chest. He tried to convince himself it was just his imagination, but the whisper kept coming, now from another corner of the room. He walked toward it, but when he looked in the mirror again, there was him, and his reflection was once again smiling. Chapter 3. The Basement. Miles tried to calm himself and remember what Aunt Agatha always said about the old basement. It was full of forgotten things, and she never let him go there. He decided to go down, hoping that it would help him clear his mind of the strange experiences. When he opened the door, it was dark, but since he had a flashlight, he noticed that the basement was full of mirrors. They were everywhere. On the floor, on shelves, on the walls. All of them were watching him. But there was one mirror that was different from all the others. It was much larger, with a golden frame covered in dust and cobwebs. Miles approached it and looked into the reflection. At that moment, his reflection began to move. Not like he did. It slightly raised its hand and then began to smile exactly like before. With every step toward the mirror, he felt his body grow heavier. It seemed as though the air in the room was thickening, and his own reflection seemed to be becoming unnatural. Chapter 4. The Letter. Miles found an old letter in one of the boxes stacked in the corner of the basement. He opened it, and it was a letter from Aunt Agatha, written in her familiar handwriting. If you are reading this letter, then it is already too late. You have opened the very cupboard you should have never touched. He has always been here, in the mirror, watching you. His heart pounded faster. He read on, "Do not say your name in this house. Do not look in the mirror during the dark hours. This is the only way to escape him." Miles felt his throat dry up. He whispered his name aloud, and everything changed. Chapter 5. You're not alone. He turned around, and the mirror once again moved. This reflection wasn't his own. It had started to live its own life. In panic, Miles ran out of the basement. He dashed up the stairs, but the furniture in the house started moving. The walls seemed to shrink, and the house itself was swallowing him whole. It felt like if he were just a little slower, he would become part of this place forever. Suddenly, he remembered the doors. He rushed toward the exit, but they wouldn't open. All the windows were nailed shut, and the house swallowed him whole. He stood in the hallway, and the mirrors around him began to follow his every move. Chapter 6. The House Lives. Miles no longer knew how much time had passed. He couldn't leave the house. He tried to escape, but every time he made an attempt, he was pulled back into the same hallway. It felt as though the walls were alive. He broke the mirrors again, thinking it would help, but the reflections didn't disappear. They became part of him. Chapter 7. Escape. Finally, when Miles managed to get out of the house, he realized he hadn't escaped at all. He tried to leave, but when he spent the night in a new place in an apartment, he saw it again. The reflection. It was standing in the mirror. It was smiling. He now understood that it would never leave. It would always be with him. Epilogue, the final reflection. Miles lived in the new town, in the new apartment, and everything seemed normal until one day he glanced at the mirror. He was alone, but his reflection was there. It was smiling again, but he was not. And that's the end of this eerie story. I hope it left a lasting impression on you. If you felt your heart race and goosebumps on your skin, then it went just as planned. Our goal is not only to tell a story, but to make you experience it. If you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new thrilling stories. We're always ready to share something new and spooky with you. Thank you for being with me. See you in the next video. And remember, if you ever spot a strange reflection in the mirror, it might not just be looking at you from the outside, but from within as well.